guys, how are you doing? Let's turn some light on in here. It's Monday morning. I woke up to some lovely comments on yesterday's video, the Sunday video, the Remembrance Sunday video. Yeah, I've got to admit, guys, thanks very much. I'm feeling the love. Yeah, I'm glad that there's so many of you are enjoying watching videos. I think the thing I forgot to mention, it was one of the reasons in yesterday's video I was just talking about making money and stuff, was it's kind of like getting a little bit difficult to find the content, in the sense that now there's a bit of a community there. I noticed that, you know, in the beginning a lot of the videos were where I didn't know anybody was going to be watching, and so it was just more about showing very, very basic plastering techniques, you know, getting it out of the bucket, how much, you know, to put into a bucket of water to knock up a blah, 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 and so on and so on. And I didn't want to keep going back over that same sort of idea, producing those same videos and trying to pick up new people all the time. So yeah, we're just going to carry on doing what we're doing. We're just going to let the channel evolve as it does naturally. Shay's just come in. And yeah, we'll just take it from job to job, and we'll just record what happens and keep it real, keep it honest, and we'll just show you what we do every day, I think. So yeah, guys, we're going to go to the job now. Right, we'll see you in a minute. So here we are inside the job. A couple of builders have been doing their work for a couple of years now. They quite like us because we tend to get things straight, and you know, there's hardly any filling because of the attention to quality and stuff. And they've given us a lovely, delightful job to tackle and use our abilities to get things straight, and our abilities are going to be well needed on this one. So let's have a look what's going on here. So they've taken the time to prep up, or at least he got his lad to prep up with this blue grit. And blue grit's not really my favourite sort of stuff. I tend not to use it. I'm much more of a PVA guy. It doesn't seem to cause me any troubles. See, now look what's happened here. He's gone onto a painted surface, and it looks like the roller's been sliding around all over the place, and he's built up areas of like real thick grit, and then there's areas of like literally nothing at all. So I think he would have been better off leaving that, because that's in a much worse condition than it was before he put the blue grit on there. These walls over here, when he's bonding out, same sort of thing again. Let's drip in. These reveals need trimming off, flush and plumb. So yeah, I mean, blue grit, I mean, it's a bonding agent. Where is it? It looks like it's this stuff he's used. So yeah, it kills the suction completely, and as it suggests, it's got grit in it, which gives it its key. So in some cases like this, yeah, I'd say it's probably pretty good because it stabilises everything. It looks like the wall was all over the place and very dusty. Although I have seen a grit product fail before, where they've gone too thick, too quick over a really, really dusty, porous surface, and the grit is too thick to have adhered and didn't soak in, and although the plaster stuck to the grit failed. I've seen that happen a couple of times on ceilings as well as walls. So yeah, we've got quite a bit to get on with in this job. So today, we've got a couple of days to get this one sorted out. Today we'll probably get all these walls bonded up with bonding. And we've got some multi-finish, maybe we might mix some together, see how we go. But yeah, today I think we just get the ceiling and then get the walls bonded up and prepped and ready for setting. We might have time to pick up one wall as well or something like that. But yeah, a couple of days, so I think we'll have this one wrapped up in the time. So we're kind of learning the room a bit. These walls are in terrible condition. What we've done here, we've knocked out some bonding, we've trimmed these plasterboards back, and I've just put a coat over there, try and average it out a little bit. Let's have a look, see if I can do this with one hand. So there's a straight edge there. It's kind of
kind of pretty much there, just trying to find the high points and the low points. Remember, I'm using quite a large, straight, stiff trowel. So it's kind of, I'm getting it close as I can by hand. And we're going to let this bonding pick up before I start thinking about putting any beads on there. But look, it's a good idea just to have a quick look. You see that wall is curling out quite badly. If you come over to this window wall here, it's not quite so bad. Although the texture, see, it's not very nice. Although it's rolling off a little bit there, look. As we come here, look, it's all quite in line there. It's not too bad at all. As far as plumb is concerned. Yeah, that's not too bad all the way up there. And then over to where this window is going to be knocked out and turned into a door. Come and have a look. See, that one's just diving away a little bit there, so I know I need to pull the bead out a little bit. And on that side's not too bad. Let's have a look. Plumb. Yeah, there's a couple of little bends in it, but we're getting them. We're just giving it a pre-fill for now. Okay, whilst that bonding's picking up around the windows and stuff, I've turned my attention to getting this bit of boxing on the ceiling beaded up. So look, we've got a free corner there. So it's a good idea when you trim with your tin snips, which are down there, you trim it back to allow for the next piece to go up there. I'm using this stapler, Stanley, and if you'll notice, it does go through the actual bead. I find it does give a much better grip if you do go through the bead, because if you keep going through the holes, like so, then obviously the bead still has the ability to move through the entirety of the hole there. It can move around, so if you can get them through the bead, it's a lot better. So there we go, we've got that corner. This is the important bit, making sure that all meets up quite nicely. If you're going to have a discrepancy anywhere, then up here is probably a good place to have one, because it's easy to make a little gap up with your trowel than it is to try and make a nice edge down here. So it's quite important that you get quite good on things where beads meet like this. And as you can see, we've trimmed it all back so none of the beads are overflapping, and it allows us to get them spot on. Notice as well on these old door frames where the paint, the architraves have been taken off, obviously, and there's a massive great big build up of paint, so we need to really get that back so we can finish nice and flush to this frame as best we can. We are going to be coming over a little bit, but these guys know what they're doing. What you want to look out for is these little things. They're trail killers, especially if you're using a stainless steel or a flexi trail. These, I believe, are called oval wire nails, and they were holding the architrave up. You really need to get them out. Make sure you don't hit them with your trowel. Okay, so on here we've got to do a bit of floating. It's quite extensive. See how thick it is there? See how the trowel's gone in? But what you're going to need for doing something like this, if you're brand new to plastering, you're going to need some sort of rule, some straight edge. This is a feather edge. Okay, this is particularly easy because we've got two hard edges to come off. So as long as your rule spans both of those, you can't really go wrong. If you want to come and have a quick look, I'm going to show you one little trick. Look, I've already ruled it off and it's flat. Quite often there'll be little holes that you've missed, and if you've got some on your rule already, you can close that rule up and squish that on and get a nice regulated surface there. We've got a little socket there. You might want to let that gear pick up a little bit before you start cleaning it out. Don't lose them. And if you remember, we're using the bonding undercoat, which is different to hardwall. It goes off a lot quicker, and it's a much more sticky product. It's much worse for sticking to your tools. It's more difficult to rule off on big areas. So if you've got big areas and you're going over high porous stuff, then hardwall is what you need. It gives you time to rule things off if you're going to do proper floating. If you're doing renovating, anything like this where you're filling chasers and stuff, you're probably better off using the purple bonding stuff. Okay, we just used the half bag of bonding And we've mixed it with some multi-finish here, just to bulk it out a little bit, because what I want to do, although we've given all these chasers and everything a pre-fill, they're still not looking very nice just to put multi-finish over the top. So what we're doing, we're going to get this over and give it a tight coat all the way over. Now, we normally have like a little Derby rule, but I think we've left it on the finish job. The sort of thing that happens when you're working with loads of other plasterers. So the only rule we've got here is this big long one. It's about 2 meters. Well, it's not that long, but yeah, it's probably a bit big because we're going over so tight over these walls. So I'm used to using these larger trowels, so I'm probably going to put it on with my 20, and look, I've got this massive, great big, huge 24. I'm probably going to flatten out with that. Now, using big trowels isn't for everybody, but I'm quite used to them, and I can get the walls pretty flat and accurate straight with the trowel. I spent, quite a while practicing that, so that when you do put the rule over, there's hardly any work to do with the rule, any filling or anything. So that's my weapon of choice for doing this task right now. Okay, so just walking around this job, something there was catching my eye and I didn't like. Now look, I'm assuming this has been boxed out because of the stairs go up there. I don't know why it's been boxed out quite so extensively. But see this door frame, that's got to be in level. Now look at this angle up here, it don't look very good, does it? Get a bit closer. So if I just hold my trowel there, so I'll put my finger here and move to here. You can see we're probably about the width, the depth of a piece of plasterboard out. So I'm going to take a measurement of that better, rather than just using my finger with one hand holding the trowel and trying to record it at the same time. And I'm going to mark a little line down here, and I'm going to see if I can straighten that out. It doesn't look. I tell you, when that's all plastered in and finished, that will really stick out. See if we can get up at a better angle. You can see it a little bit. Yeah, it don't look good to me at all. That needs straightening out. This back edge here needs filling out. So there we go, look. I've not ruled it or anything, just used the 20-inch trowel there. And you can see the angle, that distance there is much more regulated. It's just touching and feeling it. And there's hardly any trowel marks in this floated area that I put on there, which indicates to me that I've managed to get that flat white feel rather than having to use straight edge, Derby preferably, but I haven't got it, so rather than that. There we go, look. Now it's set a bit, we've been able to carve this out and clean it, and you really need to clean them out before you start setting. Otherwise it's going to be really, really tricky to make a nice edge of all this. You can see how the box is set back quite away. So yeah, we've had to take some time to make sure that's nice. You can do that with a Stanley knife, or I tend to use this old pointy trowel. Okay, well, so we're probably just about ready to start setting the ceiling. We've got as much of the prep out of the way as we can. We've got all the bonding that needs to be we've used all the bonding as much as we can. So we've gone now. And then we've got some beads up. The builder needs to bring some more beads for this window here. But as you can see, I like to get things like this out of the way, because when you knock up for the ceiling or you knock up for a bigger wall, sometimes you might have a little bit left in your bucket, and quite often you think, oh, I've just probably got enough just to get that one reveal on or something, rather than throw it away and have it useless because the reveal wasn't ready for you. So this door was particularly bugging me. Now, if you notice, it was the head of the door as well which was out. This bit of plasterboard up here has got a bit of a smile in it. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to show on the camera, but if I come up, you see, you can eye it in. And that back edge there is just disappearing a little bit, so I've had to pull that bead down to match it. And like I say, quite often when you're doing things like this, where you're right up on top of it and in close, it's difficult to see if anything's out. So before you finish, just double check, stand back and have a good look at it and see if anything catches your eye. Now, quite often, see this bead here, you've got this edge, by eyeing it in, if I come round to an angle, look, I can get it to catch this line on the door. So even if this door's out a little bit, because the bead lines up with it, it'll tend to be less noticeable. Sometimes you can get something plumb and it just doesn't look right because the door's out or something. So in this case, if I just move around slightly, it's just so that that line is catching the back of that door, and you can see it's all pretty much parallel with that. So I'm quite confident this is all going to look correct when we actually come to do the finished plastering. So yeah, just messing around with the prep at the moment. So yeah, it looks like we're in a condition to start hitting this ceiling. This bonding up here still hasn't picked up enough because it's on plasterboard, there's no suction, whereas this stuff, look, it's started to brown off and set already, so that's ready to go. So I don't think we're going to get this bottom bit on today. We might be able to pick up one of the walls or something. We'll see how we get on. Another little tip for you. If you're ever plastering with a hoodie on and you've got these tassels here, I always tie one up because that's the hawk hand, and it keeps dipping into the plaster, and before you know it, you'll have a massive great big Christmas bauble on there and it gets really annoying. So yeah, I always tie one up. The other alternative is to work so fast that you don't need a hoodie because you're warm enough. Okay, Shay, how much did you knock up for that first bucket for the ceiling?
I don't remember.
Was it 2 bags?
Yeah, 2 bags.
We knocked up something like 2 bags. And that got this ceiling on. Then we had a little bit left over, and as I said, I like to get things prepped up. We had a little bit left over, which enabled us to get this little band on around here. We got these reveals on around this door, and then we got these reveals on, just enough to lose every tiny little bit of it. And then I decided to fall back on the ceiling and flatten it out. Shay knocked up again to put this end wall on. So if there's any of that left in there after Shay completes that wall, we'll probably knock it back and use it to lay the ceiling down and all these bits and pieces here that we got on. It's hanging around a little bit, the temperature's down. So, and the board's quite fresh, there's no heating on in here or anything like that. So we've got time on our hands. That wall, I assume, is not going to go anywhere, being painted and gritted like that has been. The only other thing that's worth mentioning is, because I had that 24-inch trowel out, I decided to use it to flatten the ceiling in. So yeah, look at this monstrous great big thing. Look at it, 24 inches. I hardly ever use it, to be honest with you. And the thing, it's all right, but the thing that annoys me, if you look, compare it to a 20-inch trowel. If you look where the shank ends, they're exactly the same size shank. So you've got all this extra floppy metal hanging over the edge, and they tend to curl up a little bit. But yeah, if it had a longer shank on it, I think it'd be a much better trowel. I'm not sure why they made 24 inches, that's not very practical, but it flattened the ceiling in. I just used it because it was out. Okay, so the ceiling's hanging around. We could really at this point push forward. I wouldn't mind getting this end wall on, or some more reveals, but we haven't got the beads for it. So yeah, let's have a look at this wall here. It's absolutely sopping wet with that grit on top of that paint. It's not going anywhere. And you can see it's all hanging because of the different depths, and you've had to go on a bit thicker because of the grit, and it's making it hang. It hasn't been gritted properly in some areas. You can see here that's picking up on the camera. Some areas are drying off. There's not much you can do with this really. Just leave it alone. You just tied in that internal, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, just leave it alone and let it pick up, because the more you try and play with this, you're not going to change it at all. You need to let it pick up before you can make any difference to it. and all you'll be doing is upsetting the molecules, the granules inside the plaster, and you'll be bringing the little particles up to the surface and making it go even more puddingy and puddingy. So yeah, just leave stuff like that alone, let it pick up. So this job is probably a really good example of explaining how it's difficult to give anybody timings on what you should and shouldn't do when you're plastering a wall, how long you should leave it before you lay down. Now, we've left this ceiling quite a long time, and it's only just now starting to pull in enough, with my experience, to say it's ready. We can just about get away with laying it down. Now, I don't know if there was something wrong with the batch of the plaster or something, but I did notice when we was putting it on, it seemed a little bit more grainy and darker than usual. So with the temperature, maybe there was an issue with that particular bag that we used. Maybe the boards were really damp. Like I say, the temperature is down. There's no heating on in here. It's damp, it's cold. It's really making this plaster hang around. But yeah, we can just about get away with it. But Shay put this wall on afterwards, and you can still see that it's still absolutely sopping wet on that background, which was painted with, it was a paint surface, and then they put blue grit over it. So yeah, we're really waiting. We could have pushed on, but I'm happy that we're at a stage now where tomorrow we're going to have a bit of an easier day. Saying that, not that today was particularly that hard at all anyway. Once we got all the prep done, we were away. But yeah, it's really hanging about. We're waiting for it. Okay, so because things hang around a little bit, we're going to speed up. I think we knocked back a little bit of dirt. Did we knock in dirt water into the first coat?
Since we started knocking up just multi, we've knocked back everything.
So we've left the bucket dirty, look, and we just put a little bit of water in there, and then we're going to wash all this residue round now. We didn't do it when we first left the bucket, because if you wash it round too quickly, then the plaster will start setting in the bottom of the bucket and start giving you lumps. So now we're going to wash it round just before we knock up to put the second coat on, and we're going to use that dirty water to accelerate the speed of the second coat. Okay, so we laid the ceiling down. Shay's just knocked back again with some more dirty water to get this back wall on, because we wanted that to pick up a little bit more because there was too much of the pattern still coming through, but that's picked up quite a bit now, so I'm quite happy for that to get laid down. I took time to throw this little bit on as well, only because tomorrow, look, if that wasn't done, then we'd have a really tricky angle to sort out if all three of these were live. And you can see where the walls are so all over the place and are not in a very good condition, there's a lot of chance for that to wobble around, and it'll be tricky to keep all of that under control, especially here, because you can see that I've had to back this bead up because there was a bit of a wobble in the wall, and putting the bead up has revealed that. So that needs to come out quite deep if we want to make things straight as possible. So yeah, I think it's well worth in this case. I mean, it can be done live, you can do it, but it would be quite fiddly. But I'm quite happy to get that out of the way to make tomorrow's job of getting these two bits on a lot easier. And just whilst we're here, I just wanted to show you something. So using the 20-inch trowel, and remember it's 5 inches. When you've got something like this, or like these hinges to get round, I'll try and record and watch what I'm doing at the same time. You see how the trowel, with the extra length, look, it gets right up to the ceiling there, and the extra width misses this hinge, allows me to get down and really flatten. So there's another hinge there, so I can get in with the back of the trowel there, look, and then the front of the trowel gets the whole thing there. Especially down the bottom is tricky as well. Same as this side, look, when you've got the door in there, look, I've got all that space there because the extra width of the trowel allows me to get in there quite comfortably. If you go for the thinner trowels, then, or shorter trowels, you might have a little bit more trouble trying to keep reveals like this that are wayward in the first place. Yeah, trying to keep them straight. Here we go then, let's have a look at this. See that hanging off there? Now, this is a case where something wrong is actually right. Now, you might be tempted to get rid of that. But like I said earlier, this head up here is curling around like this way. So when I'm putting my trowel on, look, it's flush. Watch what I'm doing and I'll record it. It's flush with the back and it's flush there. So we've got 20 inches and then look, that's the residue. That's where it's missing. So if I'm keeping that there, see, this is the line I want to keep. So instead of getting rid of that, I'm going to keep that and leave that there to go off. So that when I come in tomorrow, I can use that as a guide and regulate the depth of this bit that's chased out. I've also had to pull some fresh gear for tomorrow so it gets behind that bead and holds that bead really nice and solid as well. So yeah, you can see the line that we want to keep, and that's what we're going to use as a guide to make sure that remains really nice and straight. Otherwise, if we wash it off and we try to come out in this way, we could repeat the same thing and just curl it back out again. So that's where using the rigid trowels and using things like that to show you the shape of the walls or the ceilings. I think if I wanted to be technically correct, you would call that a screed datum, a datum being showing you what the level is that you need to achieve. And that's what you do when you're screeding floors. You go all the way around the edges and then you fill the middles in. So exactly the same principle. We're using a little screed there to show us the depth and regulate what needs to happen. There we go then, guys. That's that done. Up there, I'm quite happy. We've got everything done that we need to get done today to guarantee completion for tomorrow. So as you can see, we've just got this, that one window to bead up and the reveals there. This wall on the left, the back wall, and then this wall on the right. So yeah, it's been quite a time-consuming day, to be honest with you. It's quite damp conditions made everything hang. So we'll go home now. We've had enough for one day, and I guess we will see you tomorrow morning. All right, have a fantastic evening and see you soon.